is happening, folks? Welcome to another episode, a special episode of The Forge, where we have an amazing special guest tonight. My name is Jimmy G, in the place to be. We got Billy the Kid. So, Billy, why don't you say hello to everybody and introduce the man, the myth, the legend here.
All right, what's up, folks? Thank you all for joining us tonight. Happy Father's Day, real quick, to all the fathers watching. It's been a fun one for me, but we've got the one, the only, the icon, John Moschitta Jr. He has voiced Blur in not one, but two Transformers series, Transformers Generation 1 and Transformers Animated. He's also the Micro Machines guy. Man, I loved Micro Machines as a kid. So, John, thank you for joining us. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you've been.
Well, Billy the Kid and Jimmy G, it's really a pleasure to talk to you guys. I couldn't believe that music. That music is so foreboding. I thought, oh my God, this really sounds like it's going to be like a horror movie with that music. But then you came on and you just were you, and I figured, well, it's not going to be a problem, so I'll just keep talking about whatever I talk about. I'm great. I'm having a great time. I'm out here in California, just sitting here, and I'm waiting to talk to you, and I'm getting to talk to you, so I don't have to be as excited about thinking about talking to you because I'm actually talking to you. So, how you doing?
Oh my God,
We're doing great. That was awesome. All right. And someone said earlier in one of our Facebook posts, they said, since you have John on, I guess your show's going to be shorter than normal. So and I was like, oh, you never know, whatever. I was like, it's probably shorter than some other things that you have. But John, we are so excited. I mean, I remember the FedEx commercial, Micro Machines, all that stuff. And then 11 words per second. I mean, that's crazy. Are you faster now, or slower, or bigger, faster, longer?
Well, I haven't tried to do the record in a long time. At 11 words a second, you can't really. I mean, you hear it, but
yeah.
For TV, I usually do, when there's visual reinforcement, between 6 and 8 words a second, and for radio, where it's just the voice with no visual reinforcement, I do between 5 and 6 words a second when I'm working. For the world record, when they figured it ended up being 11 words a second, the editor of the Guinness Book said I was like the only one where you could actually understand anything I was saying. There's other people that are listed. Sometimes they don't list the record in the book at all anymore. Sometimes they list other people.
Yeah.
But, I've heard them, and you can't understand a word they're saying. So I don't know. The guy who was the Guinness editor when I was doing it back in the 80s, he was, my champion, and then he retired, and now there's somebody else, and they don't care. So,
yeah,
it is what it is. They don't pay me to talk 11 words a second. They pay me to talk 8 words a second. So
that's it. You don't get any more or less money either way, right? They're just like, this is your time.
Exactly. As long as I say what they want me to say in the amount of time they give me, it's all good.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. So we got a lot of people in the chat, and I'm just going to say to the chat, if you have any questions, go ahead and please put those in there. We'll do our best to get to all the questions that we can. I will be monitoring that. Billy will be taking point just because Billy's more exciting than me.
I just can't talk as fast. I think my daughter can match some speeds, but I know I can't. I have one question.
Well, I have 5 sisters. I have 5 sisters, so that's how I got so fast in the first place. Because if I wanted to get a word in edgewise, I had to really keep up with them.
That's it.
Italian from New York, from Long Island, and 5 sisters. Forget it. I was destined to be in the Guinness Book.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
All my New York family are talkers, and they're all Italians too. So I totally get it. I felt this was a really good first question. This comes from an old friend of mine by the name of John Curry, and he wants to know, when did you learn that you had this talent, and what was your favorite voice acting project that you've ever worked on?
Well, when I was 12 years old, growing up on Long Island, there's a cerebral palsy fair a few blocks away from my house, and they announced that they would donate $2,000 to cerebral palsy for anyone that broke a Guinness record. So first I wanted to ride the roller coaster at Coney Island, so I called Coney Island, and they said, hey, kid, take a hike. You are 12 years old. We're not going to let you strap yourself into the cyclone for 2 weeks straight. So I went home and started flipping through the book and decided I wasn't going to eat a car or swallow lead pipe. So the next best thing was to lock myself in a room and teach myself how to do the fast talking, which is what I did.
There you go.
Pretty much told to shut up for 15 years, and then people decided to pay me money for it. So it worked out. It's funny, Transformers was really fun to do when I could be in the group. Back then I was very busy, and very often I missed the group recording sessions. But I just always wanted to be there for the group because it was just this room full of these great people that I've been listening to my whole life, and they were fun. I mean, you have grown men in a room talking about your struts melting. What's not to have fun about? It was great.
That's it. That's amazing. Yeah. I was going to ask you some Transformers questions, obviously, because we're Transformers guys. Jimmy and I had a funny little situation on one of our shows where we were talking about you and voicing Blur and what you had done, and Jimmy brought up a fact that I had no idea about. I usually am the guy that actually knows the facts, but
I
I
knew
didn't
something
realize it.
that he didn't know. Ha ha ha
Yes.
ha.
So, Jimmy, yeah, uh, you voiced Wheelie for an episode.
Yes.
Uh, and how was that? Because you got very close. Like I couldn't tell the difference between you and Frank Welker. So how was that? Like, what did you do to prepare for that? Did you say to Frank, "Hey, do you have any pointers?" Or did you just do you and go with it? Because I mean, you were on point.
Well, it was. Well, thank you about that. Yeah, it was just the one episode. When you go and you do these shows, you have your one main character, and then for the same amount of money with no extra, they can give you two other characters to do.
Okay.
And generally they're little cat like I did punch and counter punch and whatever. And they're not your main characters, but you just kind of you do a line here, a line there. And there's many episodes where I was only, you don't even get credited because it's like a line in the crowd or
Yeah.
whatever. But they're allowed
Yeah.
to let you do that. And on this particular one, I had no idea I was doing it that day. And they gave me a voice reference to do, and I just did it. And that was it. And didn't really think much about it. I wasn't even aware it was one of Frank's voices because he wasn't there. They just said, "We need you to do this. We need to do a pickup line." So,
You're like,
Okay.
all right.
and that was that.
That's so cool because you nailed it. Like I never knew, and I've been watching this show, and I'm a season 3 guy. Like I guess because I'm a little younger than some of the other fans. Like season 3 is what I kind of grew up with, so those characters hit more to me, and you know, I never noticed the difference. So you did a bang out job there. Um,
Well, thank
how?
you.
Yeah, of course. How was it joining in? So you joined in on Transformers the movie. You're working with people like Robert Stack and Leonard Nimoy and Michael Bell and Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, like all these huge names, right?
Orson Welles, Judd
Yeah.
Nelson, Leonard
Yeah, like
Nimoy. Yeah, no,
how
it was
was it? Like,
crazy.
and were they accepting? Like, did they just treat you like one of their own and bring in and cigarettes and
Well,
coffee and
we
everybody's
didn't do.
having a good time?
Everybody did everything separate. Orson Welles didn't want
Probably
even
locked in
anybody
a
in the
closet.
control room. And it was kind of prophetic that he's playing. He gotten so big and he's playing Unicron, a planet that eats the universe.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, typecasting. But I didn't really have a lot of interaction with anybody because it was kind of like you do your lines and leave and do whatever. We weren't doing it all together. I did go out on the press tour with Robert Stack. They
Okay.
sent the two of us out on the press tour. We hadn't seen the movie, and I hadn't even seen the full script. I only saw my line. So, and same thing with Robert Stack. He had no idea what the whole thing was. And the PR people from Sunbow, who were the original production company for it, they do this media training and they give you points to talk about and all this kind of stuff. And they're telling us it's a family movie and it's bring the whole family and it's, whatever. So that's what we're telling them because we haven't seen it. We don't know what's in it. We haven't read the script. And then we go to the premiere.
Oh,
And
dear
Robert
Lord.
Stack and his wife Rosemary are sitting next to me. And we're like, Jesus Christ, we're telling people to bring children to this.
Yeah, that,
It
that
was nothing but
first.
hard run. I mean, it was a great movie, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like, Snow White. I mean, it was a little different.
It was different. Yes, it was.
So you were there, you had no idea what's going on, and now you're sitting here at the premiere and you're watching. I don't know if there were children there at the premiere or not, but you're watching like these children's childhood heroes get massacred on screen, right? Like
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
whole, like what is that? What's going through
Bambi
your
times
head?
1,000.
Yeah,
That's what
it
was.
blows Bambi out of the water in regards to emotional scarring.
No,
Right?
I know
Like,
your favorite characters are getting exploded.
yeah,
Well, when they
like
killed
done.
off Blur later on in animated, which he's not really dead and we don't think he's just in a box, they didn't tell me. I show up in the studio, I'm reading, I'm like, hey, wait, what the hell? You're putting me in a box and jettisoning me? This is my last time I'm doing this show. What do but they don't let you know this stuff. We did, there's a thing we did, there's 6 of them. I'm not sure where you find them online, but they're stop action videos that people have complained about or doing whatever. and there's a couple of them about the characters getting killed off. And you're like, well, what
Yes.
your toy isn't selling, you know?
So those stop motion videos, we're good friends with some of the people that put those together, and we've had them on the show, like Joe Troutman. You worked with Joe before.
Oh, yeah, sure. I know Joe. I talk to him all the time.
Yeah, Joe's the best.
He's a great guy.
I literally was wishing him a happy Father's Day a little earlier. Like, he's just a great guy all around, and he was talking about how much he loved working on those stop motions, which is great. I'm gonna just bring up some things real quick before we go into any other questions, because you actually brought up something I want to touch upon. Autocorrect Primer stated, your voice for Blur was what made him fall back in love with Transformers after the movie. So that's pretty cool. Like, here's another one where, you know, earlier I told you my daughter, like, you're her character, like, you are it for her. Here's another longtime fan that Blur's what brought him back in. So that's just, it's incredible. What, it's not where I was going to go, but what, like, the impact you've had on these people, right? On hundreds of thousands of fans. What's that like? How receptive are they? Like, you go and do these conventions. What are the fans like? Do you get a lot of people that come up and they're just like, you know, things you did influenced me to do X, Y, and Z, or whatever it may be?
You know, it's really amazing. You do these things, you sit in a room, sometimes with a group of people, sometimes by yourself. You read a line here, a line there, you go home, you have no idea what's going to happen. Back when we first did it, it took forever for the animation. Now everything's much faster. You know, you do it and it's on the air in a couple of weeks. You know, but back then, sometimes it would be a year before you'd actually see these episodes. Yeah. And I actually never saw a completed episode on any of the TV shows. I saw the movie, but I never saw any of the TV because I never knew when it was going to be on, what it was doing, whatever. So you don't know what that's doing. And then the Micro Machine Man, you know, I knew it was a big hit. It was the #1 toy. The commercials ran in 37 countries. We did 125 of them. So, I mean, I know people, and I have 9 nephews who are like the perfect age for that. And, you know, I would go to visit them and they'd have all their friends come over and they'd sit there and stare at me like I was, you know, king of the world. So, you know, I know I was having a little bit of effect. And then Terrible Testaverde and Saved by the Bell. Yeah. You know, people think I was like on every week. I did one. The producer only wanted the teachers to be in one episode each because he wanted the kids to be the stars. But they rerun the thing so damn much. I still get checks. I get a couple of checks a month from that show. And it was 40 years ago.
That's
so
beautiful.
It's just, you know, if you were of a certain age, you couldn't escape me. And then I did a bunch of commercials that ran during the day for like Minute Rice. And then I had Federal Express at night. And, you know, so no matter what your age was, no matter what you were watching, you saw me in some shape or form at some point for most of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just, you know, when people come up and they tell you, you don't really think when you're doing it, it's going to be that much of a thing, but they really, you know, tell you changed my life. I do this now, I do that and whatever. And it's great to know.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
The Micro Machines, you said 37 different countries. Now, did you ever have to do those scripts in other languages that fast?
No, in most of the countries they did subtitles.
Okay.
And I did do separate commercials for Britain. So for Scotland, Ireland, Britain, Australia, Canada, because they don't drive, they motor. They don't put gas, they put petrol. And it's not the hood and the trunk, it's the boot and the bonnet. So we would do separate versions of those.
Oh, that's so cool.
I remember one day we were filming at Shepperton Studios in Inglis, big famous studio, you know, like just amazing, where things that have been done there. And we got all the stuff done, except I had to say, you know, the tagline, which is, remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the real thing. And that's all we had left to do. And it was lunchtime. And I was begging them. I said, please, because what happens in England, they all go to the pub and then drink the whole lunchtime. And then they come back and nobody wants to work. So I knew it was going to be, instead of going home at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I was going to be there till 10 o'clock at night just to say, it's not the real thing. It was making me crazy. But other than that, yeah, no, I just did them. That's the only difference I did. I didn't do them in any other languages.
Okay. I got to see how difficult that would be to go, hey, this speed, but in Spanish, por favor.
Oh, my God. Imagine that. Oh, I couldn't. Derek over here again, he just said, obviously you influenced Derek. I even used to try to talk to my mother in his voice as fast as him, and it drove her crazy. That's funny. I just think that's pretty funny. Now, earlier you said, Transformers animated, and I was going to bring that up. What was it like, God, probably 20 some odd years later to get a call to say, hey, we're doing another Transformers series. We're bringing back Blur and we want you to voice him. Now, I think animated is one of the best series we've had in a long time. I wish they ended it differently, but, things happen. But what was that like, getting a call back to reprise this character?
Well, it was great. I was happy to do it. It kind of came out of the blue. I didn't even know the show existed, so it was nice. And it was 5 minutes from my house, and we got to do group sessions, and they were all a bunch of great guys, and it was fun. So I enjoyed it. I'm always happy to do it. I mean, a job is a job, but at that point, by the time Transformers Animated came along, I already knew the impact the character had on people. So the opportunity to bring that back and have people see it again was great.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that I remember the first episode he pops in and you're just like, wait a minute, is that? And fortunately we have the internet. So you're able to go back and see that uh-oh, we lost John. Jimmy, we're gonna have to talk for a little bit. John
He'll
is
come back.
missing.
He'll be there.
So this is pretty cool. John's a very nice guy. I'm having a good old time. I hope the folks in the chat are having a good old time. What do we have going on here? A lot of Derek.
You may want to text him, let him know.
I'm gonna shoot. I'm just gonna check on him.
I wish we had a screen like with the technical difficulties like the Simpsons had with the drunk guy or something like that. So that would have been great. As we're getting 23 people watching right now, and John, this is the slowest he's talked because he's not talking about anything. So
I'm texting him, just checking in. Never heard you talk so slow.
Yeah, he is.
He's trying to get back in.
He is.
So with that, while we wait, we do have a fun summer planned. Next week, we do have autocorrect primer coming back on. July 5th is my birthday. We're going to be doing a birthday extravaganza.
It's going to be a birthday extravaganza.
We've got a lot of folks coming on. We have, I think we're going to have like a room of 10 people, give or take, which is very excited. I'm excited about. No gifts are needed, just your company is all I want. And then July 12th, we're going to be taking a break, folks, because Jimmy G is going to be at a convention and I am going to be at Weird Al's concert. And I'm not doing a live show while being at Weird Al's.
Exactly. We're just waiting for him to come back on. So we're just going to filling the air with things. I may start reading some stuff to you all. So
he breathes slowly into the ear.
Hopefully everyone did have a good Father's Day. As I told you, Billy, it is the one day of the year that every guy is expected to grill.
I grilled a steak up. I grilled a steak happily. But I like to cook. I cook like every meal. I've not heard back from John, so maybe there's some weird things going on in California, but I'm sure he'll be back. While we wait, what did I have? I caved.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
John, are you there?
There's technical difficulties here. I caved and bought the Galaxy Toys mini.
Ironhide?
No. Smoke screen.
Okay.
Because I don't have a smoke screen in my collection, and I don't want to not have one. And I don't see New Age re-releasing the figure anytime soon. They'll probably do new ones before. And Derek's got some Hasbro news to share for us. Timas had a great Father's Day. So that's good to hear. I know there's some folks out there. I hope it was a great Father's Day, and I'm going to be nice tonight. I'm not going to make too many bad jokes.
Not too many dad jokes. There we go. I did
So,
get some new Fallout stuff in. So Fallout's one of my favorite video games ever.
yeah.
I played it from the first one to the second one, even to its predecessor, which was called Wasteland, back on the Commodore 64. But a buddy of mine sold me for a really good deal one of the Pip-Boy 3000s that you can, like, for cosplay, like, that you can wear. It actually works and everything too as well. So it looks pretty cool. I'll have to show it off sometime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Derek, if you want to share some Hasbro news, why don't you wait till next week? Because I'm sure it's pretty juicy and good it'll make for a good show. I did pre-order the Transformers Overgear or whatever the heck that line is. I pre-ordered those. So I'm very excited to get those in. And then Augie G, Augie's the man. Augie sent me a box of figures to review. So I'm going to have a bunch of Marvel reviews coming up. And these are going to be, it's like some Revoltech and some Mafex and all that.
And the hard part is when you start playing with those figures, it's just like, oh gosh.
The Mafex figures are so damn good. Like, they're just so good. I can't drop the coin. Like, I can't justify that price on an action figure. Like, if they transform and there's engineering that I'm working with, I get it, but I can't. So I will enjoy Mafex through Augie, because Augie's the man. So Augie, I don't know if you're watching, but thank you very much, my friend. And with that, are there any good games going on in the game group that we should talk about?
There are a couple good games. There's one of me versus Adam with the new Blitzway Voltron Legendary Defender as one of the prizes. Okay. As well as the New Age comic version of Volcanicus, and the Studio Pumpkin, which is the Oranger Unicron, and the AMT Predaking. Also, if you're the first off, you get all 3 Kang's Toys Insecticons. There's several other games that are going on in the game group. So if you missed out on that Voltron, I've watched some reviews on it. I haven't gotten one to play with yet. I'm waiting for my limited edition one to come in. But watching some of those reviews, it is really well built. And I know some people are like, oh, it's not the original, the 84. This is one of those things where they remade it. It looks great. That I have no qualms on them going, hey, you did that. Hey, there's John. There he is.
John's back. Damn earthquake.
It's a miracle. It said my phone overheated. It's never done that before. And it cut me off, so it may happen again. I tried to get you on the computer. It wouldn't let me connect the camera or the microphone. So if I go out again, I apologize. It's just it said it was overheating.
If it happens, we love you and we appreciate
What was
your time.
funny is, like, you were frozen in time. I said, this is the slowest John has probably ever talked in his life.
Yeah, I think somebody in the comments said that too. Yeah, autocorrect primer came in and said, a mouth of so many words and so silent now. So we've been enjoying it. We've just been talking about some toys and what we've been doing while we waited for you. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I could hear you. I just couldn't. You couldn't see me or hear me.
Well, I'm glad we didn't say anything really bad.
Didn't say anything bad.
But no, back to reality. Let's continue going on. And I know you've got an appearance at BotCon, which is coming up here in in a few weeks. Here in
I think it's July 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah,
it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I wish I could go. I'm doing a vendor booth at Fanboy Expo here in Knoxville. But we were talking about conventions and kind of like the, seeing those fans and stuff, and kind of like the thing of where now it's like, it's getting to that place where people have to kind of judge where they put their money and stuff like that too as well. And now you've gone to conventions back in the day where it wasn't like that. I'd love to hear a little bit about what was that like, just being able to just have people come up to you, not have to worry about paying $50 or whatever it may be to come talk to a legend, but just being able to say, hey, because I know that's not you. This is like the conventions a lot of times are charging a lot of this stuff and things like that too as well.
Well, the first conventions I did back in the 80s, they paid you an appearance fee and you agreed to a certain amount of hours, and that was it. I mean, no one paid anything. They paid an entrance fee to go to the convention, whatever that was. and then they did whatever they want while they were there. The first one I did was in Indianapolis, and when they were driving, I was in a convention center, and they're driving me up, and there's like a line around the convention center. It was like, oh my God. I was like shocked. I had no idea that there was going to be that many people there.
Yeah.
But it was great because people just came up, they did what they wanted. There wasn't all the internet and all that kind of stuff now. What happens with a lot of people now, they show up with like, besides the fact that you have to pay and you have someone that sits next to you taking the money, and then you see people looking through their wallet. Can they afford it? Do they want to do it? It just, it makes it cheeses it out a little bit for me. I don't really enjoy doing that. But you have people that will come up with a wagon filled with stuff that they want you to sign that 2 minutes later is going to be on eBay that they're going to sell to somebody. So, I guess it all works out. I mean, I've had people literally come up and have to fork over $2,000. They have so many things for me to sign.
Holy moly.
Golly,
I mean,
it's just crazy.
That is crazy.
But that's what they do. But then they go and they sell it on eBay and they do whatever. So, and it used to just be you could have an autograph for this much, a picture for this much, or an autograph and a picture for that much. Now, do you want me to write something special on the picture? That's extra. Do you want me to say a line? That's extra. Do you want me to make a recording? That's extra. I mean, and I don't do any of that. I don't set any of that. That's all set by the convention. Because they want everybody charging the same thing, or pretty much the same thing, and nobody giving something away for free. They don't want someone to say, well, he wrote his favorite quote on there and I didn't have to pay for it. Why do I have to pay for him to write the favorite quote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. And it's just, it's a tough thing to see, but I'd love to hear from you. I've asked every kind of like guest that we've had before. What's probably been your favorite memory from like a convention, meeting a fan, whatever it may be, one of those ones that just stick with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've had some wild answers too.
Well, I've had a couple of stalker fans that come.
Oh wow, okay.
That's kind of fun. Actually, the Indianapolis one, I had a guy that had like so many piercings. I mean, he was like shining in the light. It's here and here and here and here, and he just like stood next to my table the whole time. And then I went up to my room. And the next morning when I came out, he was in the hallway. I was like, okay, that's a little spooky. I've actually stayed in contact with these people. They were very, very sweet. It was one of those conventions where you didn't pay, you just got online and, did whatever. And they were on their honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
And they had, while you didn't have to pay separately, you had a maximum 2 things you could get signed. You could have 2 things signed and 2 pictures. That was it. Then you had to go on the line again. And I was sitting next to Sue Blue, and the 2 of us were at the table, and we had like this line out the door. And these people spent, I'm not kidding you, their entire honeymoon getting online, getting our autograph, getting back online, getting our autograph. And the line was like 2 hours, to
holy moly. Yeah. Wow.
So it was crazy. And they were really nice. And the guy said, oh, my father made something for you. And his father had just passed away. And he actually sent me the thing. And then I sent him a signed thing back and whatever. So it was really, he said, my father and I, you were like our favorite. And we used to sit around and watch you. And, so it made me feel good.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story. Are you kidding me? Like the honeymoon is, goodness gracious. That's such an important
I don't know what
thing.
my wife would do if I said, "Hey, let's honeymoon and go see."
Yeah, you and me both.
She'd be like, "And the marriage is annulled." So
right, and no,
yeah, that's it. Thank God
That's
we've
so
been
funny.
together for a while now. She's like, "Whatever."
Yeah, she's used to it, right? 20 years
she's used
later,
to it.
it's
yeah,
like,
no, that's just like, here's an idea. You go there.
Yeah,
I'll go to the spa for the day, and you get your Transformer stuff, and I'll go get a back rub. It sounds much better.
from some guy named Julio.
Yes.
But we have one of our most frequent kind of flyers here. His name is NY Hunter. He says, "Hey, Mr. Moschitta, wow, it's so nice to see and hear from you." He's right up there in New York too, as well.
Yep.
So some really,
he's a
really
New
great
Yorker.
people.
He's just wonderful, wonderful human being. Our guy that kind of made this show happen is a gentleman by the name of Tim Reagan. He got Jimmy and I together and said, "This is it. This is our show."
Worst
He's got
mistake
some-
ever.
Yeah, terrible. terrible thing. He has some issues that keep him from coming on tonight, but he said Blur was always a favorite character of his. And he will be at BotCon, and he's going to make sure to take time away from his booth. He'll be running a booth to come over and say hi. He wanted to join tonight, but there's just some things going on, and he won't be able to. But I had to get that out for Timmy, that he will be there. So if you get to meet Timmy, just know that
Well, as long as it goes up and say, "Hey, it's Timmy."
Timmy!
Hey, Tim! Timmy, how you doing?
Yeah, how you doing?
Not for nothing. I was waiting for you to come up here. I thought you're never going to leave your table.
that's it.
That's my wife just texted me, and she's watching. Always watching.
Always watching.
Oh my God. Oh gosh. All right. So I better be nice now.
Yep.
So there we go.
Raz, I believe you know Raz. Razzle Kane Reviews says it's good to see you, John. Raz has worked with you before on a voice actor spotlight, I believe.
Yes, yes.
And hopefully you guys can work something out. Raz is a great guy. I'm sure he'd love to get you back on there again. But yeah, Raz is wonderful. I have to put that in there. And then Derek states, my wife cut our honeymoon short so I wouldn't miss a comic convention.
Wow.
So it does
hang on to
happen. Her. Oh, Nick.
Yeah, really.
Wonderful.
That's right.
His wife's the same.
My wife loves my hobbies. She does.
Mine as well. My wife's not watching. I believe she's putting my son to bed, but she fully supports this, and she comes to any convention she can just because she loves it. She likes seeing when you have someone supportive as a spouse. They always seem to get the same joy you get when you're doing something you're passionate about. So that's always nice.
Yeah. A question I do.
Yeah, no, it's nice to have those. Yeah. To be able to partake in something that gives the person you love happiness is nice to see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Agreed. I do have a question, because I know a lot of what you did, a lot was just with the speed in which you talk too as well. And so the difference between like doing a commercial and then doing animated and things like that, I don't know, because it's like, what was that like? What was that kind of like the direction you had to do being a voice actor versus being on live TV or recording a television commercial, so to speak?
Well, animation is generally done. Everybody's kind of laid back. You're in shorts, a t-shirt, you're sitting in a booth. Everybody's having fun. It's not a lot of pressure. As long as you're kind of delivering what they're looking for, everybody's just having a good time. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. Commercials are a little different. Commercials, everybody has to justify their existence. 9 million people show up. And it's a nightmare. It can be a nightmare. I was doing a commercial one time for Burger King, and it was just a voiceover. They were running a promotion. You bring in a coupon from any other fast food restaurant, and we'll give you a free Whopper.
I think I remember that.
I was going to say that one I remember.
And I was in the booth, and there was me, and the other character was called Burger King Girl. And so I show up in the morning at 9 o'clock to do it. Well, first of all, they kept sending me the script for the commercial, because I said, lists are very hard to do. There's no logical progression between Burger King and McDonald's. It's not like a word or a sentence where my brain can make sense of it. So I said, please send me the stuff so I can have it, prepared. Well, I was out on a press tour at the time, and I was in a different city every day, and they sent the script to the city I was in the day after I had left. So I never saw it. I finally get to my hotel in New York. They bring me the script, and it's like 600 restaurants listed. I'm like, I can't do 600 restaurants in 30 seconds. He said, well, you said it was six words a second. I said, yeah, 6 words a second, not 6 restaurants a second. And by the way, wonderful Wally Waxman's World of Waffles is not one word. So, they had to cut it down and do whatever. I show up the next morning in the studio, and the Burger King girl is not there. So there are 14 people from Burger King crammed in this little booth. And everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got a suggestion, whatever. So we have no idea where the Burger King girl is. She's not there. It's her first commercial ever. So the
Oh,
technician
no.
says, well, we should just go record John and, get all of his stuff down. And then when she gets here, we'll just record her and I'll mix it all together and it'll be, perfectly fine. Oh, no, we can't do it that way. It's not going to work. We want to have the interaction and feel that action going on between the two of them and whatever else. So we sit there for like 2 hours with our thumbs up our butts doing nothing. And finally the girl shows up. She had been caught in a subway fire. So she's a wreck. She's absolutely almost in hysterics. She's already nervous because it's her first commercial. She's already nervous because now she's with me, who I'm a little intimidating if I'm the first person you've ever worked with. And they put us both in the same room, literally 7 inches from one another. And, she says, Burger King, well, any restaurant. I go, any restaurant? She goes, yeah, any restaurant. I go, you mean you'll take coupons from Arbitrary, Denny's, Benny's, start going through the whole list. And she has to come in and go, right over the right thing, because God forbid you go, over McDonald's and they don't hear McDonald's clear. So, And she's trying to follow the list and see when she's supposed to come in. And of course, it's impossible for her to do. So we're doing take after take after take after take after take. So the technician says, hey, what if we do it separately? And then we'll mix it. Oh, no, we need this. I think he's just intimidating her. Let's put her in a different control room. And then we'll just patch it together. So we waste another hour patching the 2 control rooms together, doing whatever. Well, the same thing keeps happening. Finally, the guy who was Mr. We Can't Do It That Way says, hey, I have an idea. What if we record John and then we record her and then we put it together? Well, I could see, I thought the technician's head was going to blow up because now we're there for hours. I mean, he was like, hey, I think that might work. So I read the list. Literally, I read the list once. Okay, we got John. She went, okay, we got her. He put it together, 15 minutes, it was done.
Oh my God.
Then they started. I like the way he said Arby's, but I don't like the way he said Hardee's. Oh, you didn't like Hardee's? I didn't mind that. It was Wally's World of Waffles that bothered me. Oh, no, I thought that was excellent. And he said, can we do that one more time? And now I am, the easiest guy to work with. I will take crap all day long and still keep a smile on my face, but I had it. And it's the only time I ever did it. Well, I did it once at an audition, but it's the only time I ever did it in a commercial. I just said to them, gentlemen, you have 4 fucking hours of me going Arby's, Hardee's, Denny's, Benny's, whatever. You can sit here till goddamn hell freezes over and pick the Hardee's from this take and the Denny's from that take, but I am not reading that fucking list one more time.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they were like, yes, Mr. Moschitta.
The audition I did, they were like freaked out totally, but it was all right. At that point, I didn't care. The audition I did something similar at, it was in the middle of August. It was at what was then called Zoetrope Studios. No air conditioning, these old barracks from the Charlie Chaplin days. And it was a stupid movie, but it was going to be, it was a lot of good people that I wanted to be seen in front of. They kept me waiting 3 hours. I went in. It was a stupid part. It was a hotel manager. And at one point, he goes to hit the bell, and the lead character takes the bell away and puts a pile of dog shit, and I hit the hand on the dog shit. So I was like, all right, well, whatever, So I go in, finally, after waiting 3 hours in the heat. I'm dressed in a suit. I'm sweating. There's 14 people in the room, all spread in a little circle. I start reading the lines, and they're playing with the blinds, putting it up and down and whatever. And also, I'm like the third line in. Not a single person in the room is paying any attention to me. They're all watching the guy play with the blinds. So I put the script down. I walked over. They had the heaters that go along the wall. I stood on that. I pulled the blind all the way up. I took it off. I threw it out of the second-story window. And I said, now that we have the problem with the fucking blind taken care of, if I could just have your attention for another few seconds, I'll be out of your hair.
That's great. I would have given you the part right there for having balls. Like that.
Well, they actually did offer me the part. Not right then, but they did offer me the part, but I decided not to take it. I decided probably wasn't the best thing to be slamming my hand in dog shit. So
that's it. That's it.
So we do have a question from the chat. Do you mind if I pull that up real quick?
Yeah.
All right. So Erica Lazar 6712 states, did Mr. Moschitta have any idea 40 years ago that the Transformers lore would grow into what it is today? Yeah. Did you ever expect anything like this?
I can honestly say that myself and everyone else involved did not have a clue. Did not have a clue. You know, you do it, and then they had to send. I think it was Korea. They sent the animation off to back then, so it was like a year after you did it before it even started running. I had no idea, and now to 40 something years later, to go to these conventions and have people who are not my age, people who are younger people who are really watching it, who know every single episode and everything that happened all the time. It's just it blows my mind. It blows my mind that thousands and thousands of people show up at these conventions. And I sat in a room and talked about my struts melting. 40 years ago. It's just crazy.
That is nuts. That is nuts. Go ahead.
I say, bring up Trigger Happy one more time. I don't know if John saw that, but we've got it. Oh my God, it's Mr. Testaverde. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think that's so cool that, earlier you had spoken to that and somebody had come in a little later and there they are, Mr. Testaverde stuck with them. And again, as you said, one episode, that's it. And
terrible Testaverde. That was fun. We, you don't, when there's kids involved, they have to go to school all day. So you don't work most of the day. Most of the day you're sitting around. I remember John Paul Gosselaar's mother was there on the set, and she was just this gorgeous woman. And Mario's father was just this gorgeous man was there. And we were just sitting and talking and chatting for most of the day. And then we'd work for 10 minutes and then have to go back to school. And then we'd work for 10 minutes. And, it was a silly show. I mean, there's a stupid scene where I come in with a plunger with overalls, which no human being would ever do. But because the kids were supposed to be the stars, they made the adults look like idiots. And it was okay. I took it. But it was really fun. And people think I was on 50 episodes. And it's just one episode, but they run it so many times that people think they see it all the time. At one point, it was on 5 stations.
Oh, wow.
I was getting 10 checks a week at one point.
Hey, no complaints there, right? That's good stuff.
No, definitely keep the money coming. They still come 40 whatever years later.
So Just G Squared is just happy to see that you're on the show and some excellent work. Just so you know, John is one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. John was kind enough many years ago, not many, but a few years ago, to do an intro for me on one of my earlier reviews. He did my anniversary video for the Blur figure from Earthrise or whatever Hasbro was doing, or Studio Series Blur. And all it was reaching out. John's kind enough to answer the fans. And thank you for that. I just thought it was,
well,
you're not an effort.
It's
you're
my
not
pleasure.
Yeah. You're just so easy to work with. So thank you.
Well, it's so much easier to be nice. I mean, I will have to say my family, we're Italians from New York. We yell at everybody. We yell at, everyone's screaming and yelling all the time. You think you're mad. My other half thinks I'm constantly yelling, and I'm like, I'm not yelling. I'm just loud, but it's so much easier to be nice. It's so much easier to be happy. It's so much easier just to get along. And I like to take the easy way. So, and I like people, and what's not to like? If people telling you were an important part of their life, I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. That is the truth. New York Hunter Impressions. He wants to know, when you did the part of Blur, people like Judd Nelson and Robert Stack were in the picture. Actually, I'm sorry. We'd already gone over this. Were you in the room together for the filming, and how was the experience? So we did talk about that. You guys were not. They recorded separately, right? But how was the experience?
Yeah, basically everybody would kind of record it separately. People would wait in the other room while they were doing it. So you were in the same place when they were doing it, but you weren't in the room with them. And Orson Welles didn't even let people be in the room. They wanted everybody out of the way. And, he wanted to know, now what I do, so he took it very seriously, like it was Hamlet. So we unfortunately weren't all in the room together.
So I actually have a question that just popped into my head because you brought up Orson Welles. And I know you didn't get to work with him and all that, but the rumor always, going around, I don't remember if this was ever settled or proven, but there's a rumor going around that Orson passed away before finalizing the lines for Transformers the movie, and Leonard Nimoy had to come in and deliver a couple lines that they slowed down in post production. Do you know how, like, anything about that, or is that something
I
that we don't?
actually wish I had some inside scoop because I would certainly tell you. This is the first I'm hearing of it.
Okay.
I know it was Orson's last movie, which I'm
Yep.
sure he was very proud to take to the grave with him. Um, after Citizen Kane and the Magnificent Ambersons and everything else. But yeah, I had never heard that. It wouldn't, it doesn't surprise me very often, especially with big celebrities and whatever in movies. They have people come in post production and imitate them. I mean, that just
Yep.
happens all the time. So I would not be surprised that that happened, but I don't know that it did.
Okay. Figured I'd ask. I'm like, wait a minute, we got somebody that was really there. Let me ask.
Yeah,
But no,
that's the first
cool.
in all these years. I've never had anybody ask that, or have I ever heard anybody say anything about that. I mean, I heard
Okay.
about how picky and he was a pain in the neck and all that. I heard all of those kind of stuff, but I never heard that after he croaked, Leonard had to come in and do the pickups.
That's
Yeah.
something I had heard several times, and I just figured I'd ask. My favorite thing with Orson though is that commercial he did for the champagne where he got bombed. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
saw that, but that's something I go back to that every few months just to
Oh.
watch. Jimmy, do your Orson impression.
No, that's okay. That's all right. Changing the subject. No, I'm just kidding.
Go for
But
it.
anyways, it is the 40th year anniversary of the movie. And I know Hasbro is doing a lot what they're calling their apology tour, all that kind of stuff. I don't know, is there anything that you have any involvement? Has Hasbro reached out to you to have any involvement with what's going on with it being the 40th anniversary?
Well, other than we went to when they had the premiere and stuff, and then I have done some stuff for in-house for Hasbro. I'm actually I think I'm still the only, maybe they've added somebody since me, but I at least was the first human to be inducted into the Micro Machines, not Micro Machines, the Transformers Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Because they have characters in there, but they didn't have people. So I was the first person to do that. But I haven't done anything for them in a while. They're right here in Burbank, so it's very easy. I just go right over and we just do whatever. But I did do some in-house stuff, and I did do something for one of the promotions that they had. It was a couple of years ago, though, so I don't really remember what it was exactly. It's strange when you have a lot of different jobs. I just recently took over 400 tapes, 3/4-inch tapes and audio tapes and whatever, and had them all digitized. And you look at this stuff and you're like, you have no memory of ever saying the words.
Yeah.
When the hell did I do that? I have one thing where I've got a red top hat, a purple jacket, and I'm talking about kids programming. And I'm like, what? Well, you think if you had a red hat and a purple shirt, you would remember, purple jacket, you'd remember, but you just don't sometimes.
Yeah.
Very
cool.
No, that's very cool. Timos wants to know, would you ever do a live action continuation of the 80s cartoon of the movie? So there are live action films. I'm sure you've at least seen the commercials that they're doing these monstrosity of movies. But if you were approached, would you take it on?
Well, I definitely would. I'd be happy to. I think they take the Transformers movie franchise takes itself very seriously, and there's not. I mean, for the animated, I was the comic relief, and they don't really. There is no comic relief in the movies, so no one's ever approached me to do it. I would gladly do it, and I think it would be fun. But they take themselves very. I mean, they're fine movies. If you like those movies, it's good for you, and they do what they wanted to do. But it's not. There's no comedy in it, really.
Yeah. No, and the comedy that they do have is just humor that, I don't know, it's outdone for me. Some of that toilet humor. Let's do it like that. And yeah, I was just about to get to autocorrect primer. What made you stay doing voice acting? Like, what was your what led to that?
Well, the Federal Express commercial was the thing that really put me kind of on the map. Yeah. I was on. There used to be a show back in the 80s called That's Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And I was on at a party. I had just moved to California. And I moved here in 79, and this was like the beginning part of 80. And there was a girl, a friend of mine was trying to pick up, and she was a Valley girl, and he was from New York, so he's talking very quickly. And she looked at him and said, like, "Oh my God, you must be like the world's fastest talker." And he said, "No, as a matter of fact, this person is." And they called me over, and I did one of my little party things. And this man walked up. He says, "Hi, I'm the producer of That's Incredible. I want to put you on the show." And at the time, I was on a PBS show called The Righteous Apples, playing a teacher, which I basically said, "Hey, you, stop that, sit down." It was not fair, but it was a PBS show, and I was, on it. And I said, "Well, I really think you have a great show, but I don't think it's going to advance my career to appear on a show where I follow a man who swallows a 30-foot python." So they go, "Okay, well, you think about that." And they kept calling every couple of months, and the money kept getting more and more and more. And then the acting strike came. I had no money. They made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I went on the show and did Trouble from the Music Man, which is what I had my record with. And at the time, I was also in a play, a production of a show called The Mad Woman of Chaillot. So I sent all these flyers out, because there was no internet or stuff like that. And it was a piece of paper folded and folded, and you open it, what would you say to a man who speaks over 500 words a minute? You open it, "That's incredible, hear for yourself." The show aired on Thanksgiving 1980. And I said, "Or see him in person at the McGaw Theater in Mad Woman of Chaillot." I thought, okay, I'll send that out, never hear anything from anybody. There was an ad agency in New York that I sent a bunch of different proposals to, like the MCI was a phone company at that time. Wouldn't it be funny, a guy by the pool talking really fast to his mother, and then he gets MCI and he doesn't have to talk fast anymore because he's saving money. And I did that kind of stuff. Well, the ad agency that represented Federal Express, the two guys that were in charge of the account were having Thanksgiving dinner together, and they were told they had to watch me on That's Incredible. So they watched me on That's Incredible, and they came up with the idea for the Federal Express commercial, and which was, great for me. I thought, be on That's Incredible, nobody. And by the way, I did follow a man with a 30-foot python. He didn't swallow it, but the python was 30 feet long, and it did shit all over the stage. All this like creamy, buttery shit all over the stage. They had three incredible talkers: a guy who talked backwards, a simultaneous talker, and me, with the incredibly pretty Kathy Lee Crosby. But it was quite an experience. But I figured, okay, nothing's going to happen. I did it, whatever. It aired Thanksgiving. The following Monday, my phone did not stop ringing. I was booked on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, The Merv Griffin Show, The Mike Douglas Show. Tony Tennille had a show. I started negotiating a talent contract with ABC and started negotiating for the Federal Express commercial in one day.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was a joke.
amazing.
Every time my phone rang, "Hi, this is Art Arelanis from The Tonight Show." Just crazy. But
Tonight Show. Imagine that call. I'm sorry, like flown
with
away.
Johnny Carson,
Yeah.
I tell you, it was so crazy. The first couple of times I went, I'm sitting in the bank because I was going to be, I'm the third guest out. I'm the last guy. I'm lucky if I get a minute. It's going to be, and I realize that it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. So I'm sitting in the makeup chair. They've already made everybody else up, and Johnny Carson gets his makeup done upstairs in his room, but then he comes down and goes into a side room off the makeup area to get his hands done. So if he puts his hands by his face, they don't look a different color. And he came in, and I said hello to him, and he said hello back. We had a little conversation, very pleasant. He walked in his room, and I turned around, and the makeup guy's packing up his makeup. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You just screwed yourself." I said, "What do you mean?" He says he's very superstitious, and he does not like to talk to the guests before they go out. You just talked to him, so you're not getting on. I said, "Are you kidding me?" So I'm sitting there. He goes back out again. "Oh, you see you later." But it gets on the thing. He runs down the program. He says, "And John Moschitta, maybe." He says there was a TV version of the movie Private Benjamin with Lorna Patterson at the time, and she was on. And if I tell you, this interview was tanking. I mean, tanking so bad, and he didn't call me on. Call me on. I got bumped the first couple of times, which is fine because you get paid every time and whatever. Then when I finally got on, Sigourney Weaver was on that night. She was the skinniest person I ever saw in my life. She had this polka dot dress on it. I thought the dots were fatter than she was. I mean, it was crazy. But you're a nervous wreck. You're standing there. The guy's ready. He manually pulls the curtain over for you. come out, you kind of acknowledge the audience, and I stormed, you look on TV, it looks like this big wide set. Well, I walked right past Johnny Carson. And, I went like, whoa, and I went back. Now, when you watch it at TV, it doesn't look that bad. When it's happening to you, it's like, oh, I just look like a total asshole. I just walked past Johnny Carson. So I go and I sit down. I'm answering questions, and he's like 3 inches from your face, and he's tapping his pencil like he does on the cup. And my mouth is moving and words are coming out, but my brain is going, that's Johnny Carson. You're sitting next to Johnny Carson. Oh my God, that's Johnny Carson. You're next to Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson is tapping his pencil. I had no recollection of saying any words whatsoever. The first time I did the Merv Griffin show, I said to the stage manager, this is what happened on Johnny Carson. I walked right past his desk. So before you let the audience in, can I go out and see the set and see how far it is to his desk? So they said, sure, no problem. So I go out there. And it was a guy, his name was John. He was also for the stage manager for Entertainment Tonight, which I had done many times. So, I already knew him. He takes me out, and the Merv stage was kind of like this. And you walked out over here, and you walked around the point. The audience was there. You acknowledge the audience. You walk around the point and go to the desk. So it was big steps. Now, having explained this to the guy, you think the guy would have said to me, oh, by the way, Merv comes over to meet you at the curtain. Nobody told me that. So I come out, take a little bow to the audience, turn and bound over there, thinking I've got a good 4 or 5 steps to get over there. And I crashed right into Merv Griffin as he's coming around the thing. And I scared the shit out of the man. And I could literally see his heart pounding for the first half of the interview. It was crazy. He's a very nice man, but he had a list of questions. And he was going to ask those questions no matter whether you answered them or not. So like he'd say, when did you learn how to do that fast talking? Well, I was 12 years old. Were you young then? Yes, I was 12. It was crazy. And then he starts doing simultaneous talking. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a simultaneous talker. When they're good, they're really crazy. They say what you're saying as you're saying it. And it's amazing. How are they doing this? But he was not very good at it. So I'm talking, and he's sitting there going, and David Brenner is sitting next to me. And we thought he was having a stroke. I looked at David Brenner, and David Brenner said, is he having a stroke? He doesn't explain anything that's going to go to a commercial. And then he tells us in the commercial, and David Brenner's like, Merv, we thought you were dying. He had no idea what you were doing. And then we came back, and of course, the next guest was, her name just went out of my head. The lovely black woman who started the whole civil rights by sitting, Rosa Parks. So
that's not a name you
makes sense, right? That's who we did have on there. It was David Brenner, John Moschitta, and Rosa Parks. So it was quite a combination.
What
a hell of a combination.
Yes, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
So, I just want to jump in real quick because somebody you've probably been speaking to just jumped in and said hello. Derek Bigsby just joined in and said, what's going on? Derek is, I believe, in charge of getting the guests for BotCon. So you will be with Derek in a few weeks. So he's jumping
very soon, July 10th.
Yeah. And then are there many conventions that you're doing this year, or is it just, BotCon? I know there's other
this is the first one that I'm doing out of LA since before COVID. Okay. I stopped doing a lot of them because I just, it was like enough was enough already. They do have TF Con, which is held here in Burbank, 5 minutes from my house. So I usually will go and do a day there. I don't usually do the whole thing, but I'll do like one day or a couple of hours, or morning session one day and an afternoon session the other day. And usually some kind of panel or something. So that's good. That works out nice. But I haven't done one where I leave, and I'm actually looking forward to it because I'm thinking it'll give a lot of people who haven't had an opportunity to meet me, who would like to, an opportunity to do it, because they've got the whole Midwest crowd that's going to come.
Correct. Yeah, it should be pretty wild. Now, speaking of TFCon, we do have Ryan here as well. You've probably met Ryan at the TFCon LA showings, but those are two cons that obviously we follow closely, and we're very friendly with the people that put those shows together, and we try to get them on just to promote those conventions as often as we can.
Well, they're great. Everybody with TFCon is just wonderful. I mean, Colin is terrific. I've been doing stuff with him for ages.
Yep.
I actually did one. I did another one in Denver, but it wasn't. It was a new one that wasn't a TF Con. It really wasn't. It was called RetroCon, and
Okay.
it wasn't really about Transformers in particular. And people were there to get Marion Russ's signature, not mine. So it wasn't my favorite. But the guy who threw it, I was his favorite, so that's why he wanted me there.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean,
no.
so I mean, people would come up and talk and get pictures and do whatever, but it wasn't like the crowd that you get when you do a Transformers convention.
Yeah, the Transformers conventions are crazy. I'm sure BotCon's going to be nuts. I know Derek's put a ton of work into this year's convention, so that's going to be fun. And then Autocorrect Primer came up and said, I remember you doing several appearances on Johnny Carson. So again, you were his favorite character, so he's going to come in with a lot of stuff to say. Big Easy's here. He says that this is great stuff, and he's loving hearing the memories. So this is good. These memory lanes are wonderful. It's what the fans want to hear, and we're happy that you're sharing that with us.
Well, I did Johnny Carson, and then I did Jay Leno I did Jay Leno 7 times, sometimes playing characters, sometimes being me, depending on what was happening in my life at the time. And then the very first week that Jimmy Fallon took over, I did a bit on the show. So I actually am the first person to have been on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, and Jimmy Fallon.
That's cool.
Wow. Cool. Oh, no, his phone died at the end of the show. Son of a bitch. Oh, no, his phone's overheating. Guys, you got to be kidding me. I feel so bad.
That's crazy. Yes.
I mean,
we were just getting ready to cut it off.
We
were just getting ready to say, hey. Oh, my God.
So, okay.
That's crazy.
So we're going to wait for John. I'm not going to end the show without saying goodnight to John. There are so many great conventions out there, and I'm happy to hear he's getting back on that circuit. What a fun show. What a fun guest.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious hearing these stories of these late shows and all that. Like, these are things I grew up watching those things. And
pulling my popcorn out now.
Pull your popcorn. I'm a sucker, though. I still watch every night. I watch the Carol Burnett show.
Oh gosh, classic.
I know it ain't. Yeah, I can't not go to sleep without seeing like some Harvey Korman and some Tim Conway action. It's just the way it is.
Especially when he does that shuffling.
The old man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't believe. So guys, if you're just joining us, unfortunately, every once in a while, John's phone overheats and he's got to leave us for a minute. Once it cools down, he's going to come in and we're going to wrap up this show. But John's been a wonderful guest tonight. He's been a blast. You guys in the chat have been great too. A lot of really excellent questions, respectful stories.
Yep.
Yeah. And
a couple weirdos, but we got rid of them.
We got rid of those.
Yeah.
Yep. T-Mas, the plasma energy chamber did it. Here he comes. I thought I heard the boop.
Yep, there it is.
Oh man. So John, we are getting ready to wrap up just because we're within our little timeline. And I'm so sorry. I guess the phone overheated again.
Yeah. I don't know what this has never happened before. And I've been on, longer things. I don't know if because this particular restream or whatever you're on, maybe that calls, does it at a higher thing or whatever. I don't know, but I've never had this problem before.
I think,
but the camera actually gets physically hot to the touch.
That's it. I think it's the three of us together are just exhuming so much energy.
I think that's what it is. There are sparks, they be a flying.
The sparks are flying. So Quentin just came in. Quentin, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to watch the recap. I was late. I just came in and caught some. There were some really cool things that John talked about in the beginning. Erica, I'm going to ask that. Derek, there were some people in the chat that we just had to kick out, and we're not even going to discuss them. Mr. Moschitta, other than meeting Johnny Carson, was there another entertainment star that surprised you in person? I think that's a nice question to kind of end the night with, and I don't want to leave the folks out.
Well, my birthday is August 6th, and that happens to be Lucille Ball's birthday. And out in California, the one station here on August 6th, they run I Love Lucy all day long. So I spent my birthday for several years just laying around watching I Love Lucy all day, and I loved it. Well, I was on the Emmys one year with a bunch of commercial people doing a singing, dancing number. And Lucille Ball was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award and they had her kind of sequestered off in the side in a private little booth they had built for her, and they weren't letting people in or doing anything like that. And I managed to sneak in, and I went up and I introduced myself to her, and I told her about, I love spending our birthday watching blah 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 blah. And she looked at me, she said, "Oh, my dear, aren't you so sweet? And weren't you funny on the Tonight Show? And remember when you did that thing on Matt Houston? You were so cute." I was like so blown away that Lucille Ball knew who I was. Wow. I was like, I walked out of the tent and almost had like a nervous breakdown. I almost started like, Lucille Ball knows who I am. Unfortunately, I was in the same place with her 3 more times during the coming years. They were all on planes where she was drunk and being dragged off. But for that night, she was my idol, my hero, and she knew who I was, and I couldn't believe it.
That's can't awesome. Imagine the feeling of someone you look up to that much knowing you. Like,
it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. I mean, from the time I'm a little kid, I'm watching Lucille Ball. I mean, she was always a part of my life. And there she is. I mean, I have been very, very lucky. I have met so many people, some nice, some not so nice. Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, and astronauts, and I performed for 7 presidents, and so it's been pretty amazing. But for I Love Lucy, I mean, she's like, that was my childhood, was her. So it was crazy.
That's great.
Wild. Like, that's wild. Yeah. So I know I said we're wrapping this up, but you brought up Fred Astaire, and we were talking about New York, New Jersey, and all that stuff. I'm in a town called Union Beach, and our neighboring town is Keyport, New Jersey. And Fred Astaire in 1905 debuted one of his comedic acts in Keyport. So I just thought you brought that name up, and when we walk into town, you can see this painting on the side of a building. There's a mural of him dancing. And I just thought that's so funny. There's, just how small this world really is. Like, that's that.
Yeah, but no, John, I met a bunch of great people. I used to do a lot of charity stuff. I presented an award with Elizabeth Taylor, and I presented an award with Kirk Douglas, and I gave Monty Hall. I mean, how'd they even come up with this combination of me and Kirk Douglas giving an award to Monty Hall? I don't know, but it was crazy. And then a kind of funny one, I was doing a thing, and Jimmy Stewart was going to be getting an award. And I'm walking down this hallway. It was like a bridge going from the hotel to the ballroom. And I'm walking towards the hotel, and he's walking towards the ballroom. He's got all these security people around him. And I stop and I introduce myself, and I tell him, "Oh, I love all your movies," and blah, blah, blah. It just blowed smoke up his ass like crazy. And he didn't say 2 words to me, just kind of looked at me and just kind of nodded. And they started walking, and the security guard in the back says, "Mighty pleased to meet you."
That's funny. Wait, you want me to ask that question?
No, I just, when you said giving an award to Monty Hall, I was like, I could just see you going, "Here's your award," or you could have what's behind door number 2.
Behind door number 2.
I was about to pull it up, and I'm like, there's ways to doing this. And
it's a goat.
Derek says, obviously now you know how a lot of us fans feel about meeting you. And I would believe that's in reference to the Lucille Ball and things like that.
Yeah, well, we had discussed it a little before we went on. It's, I really appreciate that. And I think I can't tell you how it warms the cockles of my heart to know that you have that kind of effect, and that, people have fond memories. And, life is hard enough as it is. So if you manage to put a smile on someone's face that they can remember you in a positive way, that's great.
I'm sure you did that tonight. I know for a fact you did that tonight after my daughter's reaction earlier, but I'm sure you did that as well with folks in the chat tonight.
That's awesome.
So thank you. So, Jimmy, I'm going to let you do the wrapping up here
again, John, for just being on the show. And if you're going to BotCon, definitely stop by, see John, say hey, and all that good stuff. And I know we'll have another show tomorrow, next Sunday, so tune in, same bat time, same bat channel. Who's the guest? Autocorrect is going to be on.
Autocorrect Primer is going to be,
and then we
guest.
have your birthday bash coming up, which that's going to be great.
Yeah, July 5th.
Yeah, but John,
They
thank
throw-
you so much. And everybody.
Well,
in
Billy the
chat,
Kid and
thank
Jimmy G,
you.
it really was a pleasure talking to you and talking to all the fans. I really like to get that opportunity to answer questions when people type in their questions, and you can answer me what those questions, and I get to answer them. I really think that's great. I really have a good time to do it, and it's a Sunday evening, and why not just sit around and answer questions? And I'm sorry that I got knocked out twice, and the phones kept heating up. I guess it's because I was talking too fast. It made it heat up. I don't know what the problem was, but whatever. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Happy birthday on July 5th. That's the day I'm going to see Phantom of the Opera. And thanks. It really has been great, and take care.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And with
Thank
that,
you so much.
we'll see y'all later.
Now we do the Naked Gun Out, such as freeze for